EA's been under a lot of fire lately, and it's not for the typical reasons. It has nothing to do with DRM. It has nothing to do with the usual bullshit that they pull. This is something completely different and something that's just completely cringeworthy. And when I first found out about this, I just instantly facepalmed. So if you don't know why people are pissed off at EA, what the newest controversy with EA is, you're going to probably react the same way as I did. So if you don't know what it was, basically EA introduced a new social media campaign using the hashtag #JustWorldWar1things on Twitter to promote their new game, Battlefield 1, which came out, I think, a few weeks ago now, maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that. It's the newest iteration in the Battlefield series. Battlefield has been taking a modern approach lately, but they decided to do something different, obviously, by having the game take place during World War I and having the entire theme centered around World War I. That's why they used the hashtag World War I things, just World War I things. That was the hashtag. And people were offended by it. They felt like it was insensitive to all the lives that were lost in World War I, and it was offensive. I don't understand how the fuck that can be offensive. If a group of World War I veterans came out today and said, this is offensive, or we are offended by this, or whatever, that would be a different story, although I wouldn't really agree with that either. But there's nobody from World War I is alive. How can you say that you're offended by something that happened 100 years ago that you or nobody you knew fought in? Most people are dead. Everybody's dead. Every World War I veteran's dead. I think the last World War I veteran died around 2004. That was the very, very last World War I veteran. They were like 100 something or something like that. So nobody is from World War I is alive, and people from World War I, their sons, most of them are dead. You know what I mean? So I just think it's stupid for people to be offended by something that has absolutely nothing to do with them, that they didn't experience. Don't get me wrong, even if it is something you experience, you shouldn't ruin something for everybody else just because you are offended by it. And here's the thing, I don't like to get too political on my gaming channel. As a lot of people know, I do have my very own political channel where I discuss political issues, and it's supposed to be independent from my gaming channel. But when it comes to stuff like these social justice warriors are ruining gaming, that's all I gotta say. They're just completely ruining gaming. It's ridiculous how they get offended by everything, whether it's Anita Sarkeesian with her feminist bullshit, or just dumb shit like this. Being offended by a hashtag just World War I things, they feel like that's insensitive, and they're trying to make light of a war that killed millions of people. If you're going to feel that way, at least be consistent with your views. Because if you actually felt that way, you should have been protesting from the very beginning. You should have been protesting the fact that a game where you can shoot people that takes place in World War I is supposed to make light of World War I, right? So you should have protested when they were making Battlefield 1. Oh, you're making a game-based World War I, that's offensive. No, they decided just because a dumb hashtag, really, that's what you're going to be offended by? I just think it's so stupid. And anybody who disagrees with me, like, I'm sorry, but I don't know. What the fuck's wrong with you? It would be one thing if they made a hashtag just 9/11 things, or just Iraq war things, or just Syria things. That would be a different story, and I'd be able to at least understand why people are offended by that. I would at least be able to understand. But in this instance, this is something that happened. The war ended 98 years ago. So in 2018, it will be the 100-year anniversary of World War I ending. But 102 years ago, the war started. Nobody right now was even alive when the war started. I know there are a few people, but a lot of those people are vegetables at this point. I don't really think they're paying attention to video games. I think that's a good assumption to make, don't you think? But, oh my god, I just think it's ridiculous because people are getting offended by little stupid things that they shouldn't really be offended by. And they're in turn ruining the experience for everybody else. Now, I know this isn't really a big deal. It's just a hashtag. They didn't actually get anything removed from the game, but it actually has happened before. In June of 2015, everybody remembers the Confederate flag controversy. And there was the liberals were having a huge crusade against the Confederate flag, which at the time I didn't really have a problem with removing the Confederate flag from, this government building, because I actually thought that was a good thing. I thought it made sense because, I mean, the Confederate flag was the flag of the rebels, and the rebels supported slavery. Now, I know this isn't a history channel, this is a gaming channel, but I have a point here. They went too overboard, though. Dukes of Hazzard had a Confederate flag on one of their cars or whatever, so that show got canceled from TV Land. TV Land refused to air any more episodes of that show. Not like the reruns, because TV Land has a lot of reruns of old shows like MASH and Dukes of Hazzard and shows like that. Well, they don't have Dukes of Hazzard anymore because Dukes of Hazzard prominently featured the Confederate flag, so TV Land decided to pull it. And in relation to gaming, there were a few Confederate flags in the countryside in Grand Theft Auto 5, and Rockstar actually removed those Confederate flags and replaced them with American flags. I just think it's just stupid, you know what I mean? And then I remember back in 2012, I think it was, I actually remember, because I did make a video about it, but I don't think the video is up anymore, but I just talked about how ridiculous it was. Basically, I'm sure a lot of people would remember this. The map in MW2 Favela was temporarily pulled from the game because somebody who was a Muslim gamer decided that they were offended by something, by a 3-year-old game. They were playing in Favela and they found a painting that was written in Arabic that was in the bathroom, and apparently that's offensive. And that's against his religion, whatever. And I thought that was stupid too, because I'm pretty sure if you're that religious, I'm pretty sure people who are religious shouldn't be playing video games. I don't think that's allowed, but I could be wrong. But it's still, you're going to try to ruin the experience for everybody else just because you personally are offended by something. I just feel like people are so entitled these days, especially in the gaming community. Everybody's so entitled. They feel like they're entitled to things, and they feel like they should be catered to, and everybody else should suffer. It's just completely ridiculous, and I hope this mindset changes. I don't know. I really don't know, but it's just completely ridiculous. And getting offended, it's just, those things are stupid, but getting offended by something that nobody was alive to remember, it's just ridiculous, man. That's all I gotta say. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.